It's the Mississippi Municipal League for all the cities and towns for throughout the state of Mississippi. Really help us be better mayors, and just it's awesome that you can call somebody and get answers if you're not sure of bills and things like that we can either get killed or passed. So, it's just an opportunity for everyone, and I encourage everyone to belong to this organization. Especially when I first started in 2009, I didn't know anything about being a mayor. So I had to learn, and they are very, very helpful. Like you've seen all the classes that they provide everyone, the educational courses that help you do financing, law, zoning, planning, all of it. So it's just a wonderful opportunity for all of us.
A lot of municipal officials come from a wide variety of backgrounds, and so we want everyone to get on the same page and understand their role. And so we have a training program called the Certified Municipal Official Program, and that's a training program where they learn everything they know about laws and what their role is as mayors or aldermen. And then one of those key components is done here at the conference, and we have about 70 sessions this year to cover a wide variety of topics, from law changes to things they need to know about the new medical marijuana program, water and wastewater issues, street repair, things like that.
Our workshop today is about how mayors and mayors administration can be involved in addressing homelessness in rural Mississippi communities.
How serious is the problem?
It can be serious depending on the community, depending on how many homeless individuals are in that community, depending on resources exist in that community. So we're really trying to think of creative ways to network and collaborate across all programs to get people from homelessness into housing.
What suggestions do you have for mayors and council members throughout Mississippi?
I would say don't feel helpless. I know it can seem you are being held responsible for homelessness. You feel like you have little to no control over it, but there are things that you could do, practical things you could do with the resources that you have within your city to address homelessness in a pragmatic way.
Our workshop today deals with rural America. What we're trying to do is bring resources and information for those rural communities throughout the state of Mississippi. Part of what the Biden-Harris administration has done has put many, many millions of dollars into rural America. And so USDA Rural Development is here to share the information, as well as make sure that these small towns and municipalities have what they need to function. As I like to say, rural development can build a community from the ground up. So that's what we're here to do, just kind of making sure that they know that we're here for them to improve their communities in rural America, and to make sure that they know they have a resource for economic development as well.
Okay. Our workshop today is about the economic impact of tourism and also how it relates to other economic development efforts. We know that tourism is economic development, but it also plays into other areas of economic development as well.
How can this help communities around Mississippi, particularly smaller rural areas?
Well, tourism is the fourth largest industry in Mississippi, so it's a huge economic driver for our state and our communities. And right now, Mississippi's really having a moment. People are loving to see those small communities, especially. So it's a really great time for tourism.
Our workshop today talks about communicating as a government entity and what local governments can do to better talk to their residents about what's going on in their communities.
What suggestions do you have for cities across Mississippi?
Be conversational, be human, talk to your residents just like you and I would be having a conversation. There are many tools that we can use today to do that, and I'm here to talk about those things.
What type of tools are you referring to?
As far as working with our media partners, what that looks like, as well as using digital tools like social media, Facebook, Twitter, those kinds of things.
What kind of success have you seen?
In the past 5 years, we've increased our engagement and following from roughly 3,000 to more than 20,000. We talk really directly to our residents, and we find that they come to us first, and they know where to come and get their information.
So I gave an overview of Stennis Space Center and NASA in general and where we're going in the next few years to the moon, Mars, and beyond. And then I had a conversation with everybody here about leadership and some of the attributes that I believe are necessary to have a winning organization, especially in a diverse and dispersed environment.
What advice do you have to mayors and council members around the state that deal with constituents all the time?
First off, you work for them. You're a servant of the people, just like I'm a servant of the people for NASA. Remember that. You've been given some authority and in charge to work on their behalf. You have to keep that close to heart and always consider them in the decisions that you make.
Mississippi and all states.
We have a big responsibility. BEAM is going to be tasked with building out broadband throughout the state of Mississippi. We have an incredible opportunity with a lot of federal money that is coming into the state of Mississippi right now, and our office will oversee the administration of all of that grant funding.
What is the timetable, particularly in rural Mississippi?
Well, it's not going to happen overnight. It is a big, it's a big job. So there is some federal money that should be available by the end of the summer. We anticipate having one grant program, the Capital Projects Fund, open in the fall. It's $162 million. But then the larger pot of money is going to come over in 2023, probably not distributed until the summer or fall of 2023. And during that time, my office will be engaging in some very intense mapping to show what the state of Mississippi has as compared to what some of the federal maps have. And we will also be putting together a 5-year plan for the infrastructure, broadband infrastructure build out in Mississippi.
The issue of human trafficking is really severe in the state of Mississippi. One of the issues is that it has not been addressed the way it needs to be, and because of that, the numbers continue to rise.
Tell us exactly how does Mississippi compare to other states in this area?
Probably very comparable. You have, because of the Gulf Coast and then several of the interstates with the specific states that they lead to, the numbers continue to rise. But compared to the states right around us, we're very comparable.
What is the cause of human trafficking?
Is the need for it, unfortunately, and the request for it. If we don't stop the people wanting the human traffickers, then we're not going to be able to stop anything. But it's a lucrative business for a lot of people, and when you request that business, then we're not going to be able to stop human trafficking.
How does it work?
Several different ways. There's labor trafficking, which means someone may be making someone work, being forced to work, and not paying them the means that they need to be paid. And then also we have sex trafficking, which is coercion or force, making someone do sexual favors or sexual acts.
The experience I've had working with most communities.
Our continuing education class today dealt with basic municipal land use, and it's a really important topic for elected officials due to the many issues that they face, whether it's rezoning, land use, current development patterns. So the class is designed to give kind of a broad overview of municipal land use in Mississippi. What are some of the tools local officials have to help them with their planning, and how they can really kind of begin to plan their communities for the future.
What advice do you have for municipalities across the state?
I think the one thing I would encourage them to do is to be forward-thinking and go through a solid planning process to figure out where they want their community to be in the future, and then begin to lay out those steps to get them towards that future.
Our continuing education topic here today is water and wastewater enterprise funds. Well, what it means is those are the actual accounting practices that public utilities should use for water and wastewater utilities as far as those funds coming into the municipality. Well, those utilities are critical. To me, they're the most important utilities we have, water and wastewater, because you can't do anything, you can't develop, you can't live without them. And I'm going to say they're amazingly important right now with a lot of the federal funds that are coming out, as plus you have a lot of need. We're hitting kind of this 50-year, 100-year mark on a lot of infrastructure in Mississippi. So the need is there. We're going to be having to do things in the next decade. So people need to be very conscious of their dollars and what they can and can't do.
Our continuing education session today dealt with community development and why it's important in our communities. Community development is at the heart of what cities and towns do to make their place memorable and lovable and the type of place that people want to live. And so we instructed our guests on the Main Street approach to community development and how they can revitalize their downtowns as a tool for community development.
What kind of success has the Main Street program seen in Mississippi?
Well, we have over 50 Main Street programs all across the state that are working each day to revitalize their downtowns, and we've seen tremendous growth over the past 40 years with economic development investment and public and private investment in our downtowns.
Ms. Smith, for for 2028. Our continuing education seminar dealt with leveraging use tax in Mississippi, specifically under the Mississippi Infrastructure Modernization Act. I, along with my colleague from Government Consultants, Namdi Thompson, took cities, particularly their council people and mayors, through use tax in Mississippi, which has been around since the 1930s, all the way to current date, where now, since the United States Supreme Court allowed for the collection and leveraging of internet sales tax, and now cities in Mississippi are getting some of that use tax, and they're leveraging it to issue debt for major infrastructure projects. So it's a policy decision for cities, whether you pay as you go or leverage it for larger projects.
Our continuing education topic this morning was civility, and that is important, especially in the world that we're living in right now. People have become divided over multiple issues, and this really affects municipal leaders in a big way. It's really important to understand how important the topic and the action of civility are. Workplace issues arise out of that, causing people to leave their jobs, and paying for that turnover is getting increasingly higher. So there are actual costs to having workplaces that people deem to be having a lack of civility.
What is your best advice for municipalities around Mississippi?
Well, when it comes to this issue, the most important thing that we discussed in our workshop this morning was the ability to truly listen, to be open to hearing that there could be another side to an issue, and at least making the person feel respected as you listen to them.
Our continuing education session this morning deals with basic municipal finance, basic budgeting, debt control, debt management. So it's very important for cities as they plan for their future and their growth and managing their cities. The difference between private sector budgeting and governmental budgeting is governmental budgeting, of course, is statutorily directed. So the statute lays out how you make your budget, and it's not about profit. It's about how you use the city's revenues to help your citizens.
What advice do you have for municipalities across the state?
To really use the budgeting process to, again, to manage the city, to look at its challenges, look at its opportunities, and use the budget and the process to achieve some goals.
Our educational seminar today is to help elected officials understand how to better transform their local economies.
Tell us, what advice do you have for cities and towns around Mississippi?
Well, cities and towns around Mississippi have several areas that can really transform economic development in their communities. Entrepreneurship and innovation is a huge player in today's global economy. Also, we want quality, connected places where people enjoy experiencing and living and visiting. We also have an emphasis on innovation. We need information and education on all of these different topics to be successful.
Do you have an example of one community that's been successful in this area?
We have several case studies that we're actually going to go through in our session today. We have several from across the country that we're going to explore.
This is my third term, so this is my 10th year, I believe. In terms of what it's done to make me a better older person, it's just made me knowledgeable of my duties of being an older woman, the importance of decorum, budgeting is very important, economic development, and now they're having classes on the new cannabis law. That's very important for cities to understand in terms of the regulation process and what needs to be done in that regard. This morning we're in the USDA rural program, learning about what programs they have to offer for cities. So just a wide range of topics that every local government official should be aware of.
Well, actually, I need to learn anything about the responsibilities of an alderman to the constituents, and learn as much as I can about what I can do to help my town.
Have you found the educational sessions valuable?
Oh, yes, I have. I got a PhD from Ole Miss, and I used to go to all their stuff. This is my first time here, you would say, and I've learned a lot. I mean, it's a very knowledge.
I came just to get an idea of what other leaders and cities in the state are doing, so I can take those ideas and bring them back to my hometown in hopes to make improvements, and also to share some of the things that we're doing in my city to maybe help develop other cities here in the state of Mississippi.
Doug Seal, Bay St. Louis City Councilman. I've been out of office for a little over 22 years now. Coming to MML just to learn the new concepts, the new ideas, and learn how to implement those in the city government.
Which ones have you attended so far today?
Just went through civility, learning to conflict resolution and how to deal with people on different levels and understand different peoples and their personalities and how we can all work together to become one and provide something to move forward.
I've been elected for 1 year, and what I learned today is I've been in the economic development class, and I'm learning a lot, changing the community.
I've been coming for 21 years to the MML conferences on the coast, and obviously the knowledge I've gained over those years has been a huge part of the growth of Hernando. We couldn't have funded many of the things we did without the relationships and knowledge we gained from the MML conferences.
It's very valuable. It helps us make decisions, and it helps us with things that we are doing in our town. And I've been coming probably about a little over 4 years. And I enjoy it so much. I meet a lot of people. I get a lot of new ideas to take back to the table, and we can discuss and do the things we need to do to build our town and help develop it even more.
I've been coming 5 years. I'm in my second term. I have not missed a class. I already have my basic, my advanced, and my professional, and I got that in my first 4 years.
How has that helped you be a better alderwoman?
Well, you just listen in the class and you learn stuff that you had no idea even went on in the city. So I apply what I've learned, and if I don't completely understand it, I talk to somebody that's been in it longer than I have. And sometimes it's really complex, the stuff that you learn in these classes. And I have went and sat in the class a second time to make sure I got it right.
It's been my 14th year as an elected official. I was fortunate enough to have other officials that encouraged us to participate with the MML. And, you know, we share all of the common problems with small rural areas in Mississippi, and the MML starts to put the collective wisdom together to solve some of these problems. And I think the one that I just came out of that I thought was very interesting was put on by the Stennis Institute, which when you look at going from smokestacks to the future. And when I came away from that is that, you know, improving the quality of life in our communities is an economic development activity. We are finding that people do not have to live, they can choose where they want to live, and if the quality of life in our communities are second to none, then we can attract our new industries. And they're going to be different than smokestacks. We were not, you know, I don't think the South was ever a industrial base as much as it was agrarian. However, it's moved into this new knowledge-based economy. Knowledge is the next economic development wave.
I've been coming to MML for 2 years. This is my second year being here, and I'm coming here to add to the growth of the town of Webb, to make it more productive, and also to increase the number of people that is in the town of the Webb, and also making sure that everyone as we classify them from the smallest to the greatest, become more productive citizens as well.
It's my 5th year to come, and you come to learn. The elected officials come from a variety of backgrounds and may not always have knowledge in government, and so this helps us get as far as the tools, begin our toolkit to be able to successfully help our communities, our cities, into areas that to thrive. Because, you know, it's amazing, all of their city officials have come from a variety of backgrounds, and you put your different skill sets together along with the tools they give us here to hopefully make our municipalities more successful.
This is my second year, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to learn today, but last year we learned a lot. It's a lot of good information here, and was looking forward to coming back this year.
What are the seminars that you wanted to take advantage of today?
Today, municipal, like the land use and municipal finance. Learning about small communities and how to build them up.
Off and on, approximately 20 years. Mainly just try to get some information on how to redevelop and bring new life back to, a small town. That's my number one goal right now.
Have the educational sessions been valuable for you?
Well, yes, I've just been in one this morning, but yes, I got a lot of good information from it.
My name is Kenneth Ramsey Sr. I'm a new mayor from Hazelhurst, Mississippi, and I've been mayor less than a year. I have an anniversary coming up on July the 1st as I've been inaugurated, and this is my second time coming to the Coliseum, and the program is great, and I've learned a lot, and the classes I take here, I can take it back to Hazelhurst, Mississippi with me and implement it throughout our community.
To learn today, community development, how to better Fulton, how to get the people involved so we can work as a team to recruit and retain new people, I think is very important. I'm also interested in the marijuana laws. I think that is going to be very important in the top of our list for a lot of municipalities that are here this week.
I have probably been coming for about 24 years because I came with my husband. He was previously a councilman and a vice mayor for the city.
What have you learned here today that you're going to take back home?
On civility. Sometimes, when you're in a board meeting and everybody wants things their way and everybody wants their vote to be counted, I learned that you have to sometimes step back. We learned the different types. So now I fully understand more than I did before I came here, how some people's ideas are just a whole lot differently than yours, but they mean it in a good way. That's just their personality.
I've been alderman for 4 years and been for 8 years. This is my second term, and right now I'm learning about the finance classes, and I'm gonna take that back to Magnolia and apply that with our city.
How valuable are these classes?
Very, very valuable. You got to have these classes. You got to have them.
This is my first time. Coming to this conference. And so far I've learned a little bit. I just left a session dealing with community development. So I've learned quite a bit in there. Very, very interesting, very informative.
This is my first year as mayor, but I've been coming to MML for a while. And so these educational seminars are great. They teach you about financing, they teach you about infrastructure, getting money from different sources. So it's real great to be coming out to these functions.
I've been coming here over 25 years. Over 25.
How valuable are the sessions?
Oh, they're very valuable. I just came out of one class where we were discussing the Modernization Act money and for the towns, which is very, very important. It's a key because, first of all, we got to know how to spend it without getting in trouble with the government. And with this coming to MML, there are three types of levels that you can achieve by attending these classes: basic, advanced, and professional. So it's important.
This is my second year at MML.
And what have you come to learn?
Different aspects of the city government as far as my municipal finance. I'm on my way to actually learn about land and more expenses on that. So
how valuable are these classes?
Very valuable. Seeing this is my first term as alderman, it has been very helpful.
I have been coming to MML every year since I've been mayor, so it'll be 5 years, and they are incredibly valuable. I never come away without having gotten something that's been good for the city of Starkville for me to take back and use and learn and share with our community.
Well, I come to learn, stuff for our city. Been in water, wastewater class this morning. I've been in office 1 year. So, you just come to meet other mayors and, learn about what's going on in the state.
Government financing is a little bit different than, just your regular finance. And so you have a lot of fund
funding accounts, and you have to know how to manage that and how to manage your grants, and that is given to you in a class, and you can take it every year. It's given every year. It's a 5-hour class, and it's taught by great people, and so you want to take those courses. You want to take, like Main Street is here, and they're giving courses for better opportunities to make your town look presentable, and good things that you can do and grants that you can receive. It's 70 or 80 courses that you can take to enhance your cities and towns.
This is the 5th year that I've been here, and I always enjoy hearing the material they have because it's always relevant on changes in law, changes in grant programs. But there's also just the learning by talking to other mayors that you get through this process. And it's a great time to compare notes on where other, for example, university towns, what they're doing. And it's always a very value-added conference for us.
I've had a lot of good feedback from people that they have really benefited from our courses. We had an election last year, so we got a lot of people who have just completed their first year of municipal government. So our feedback has really been great, and we really want to thank all of our presenters, our sponsors, our exhibitors, because we could not do this conference without their support.
It's been very well received. They appreciate the classes that they're getting and the instructors that are sharing information with them, and they get to go home with information that'll help make their community a better place.